Hey everybody,
Hello.
we are back. It's Chris and Ed here to taste wine with you at ONS, Old North State Winery right here in downtown Mount Airy.
Beautiful
Yes,
downtown Mount
it
Airy.
is beautiful, particularly these last couple of days, Chef.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, just right. A little cloud cover, a little breeze. Humidity seemed to temper it out.
Ah, yes, temperatures in the 70s in June.
Just
Can't
how
beat
it should be.
I tell
Well,
you
after
what,
that debacle at the end of May, I guess we were owed a week of mild weather in June.
we took the doors off the Jeep,
Thank you.
and then it promptly dropped into the 50s at night. And guess what?
That was perfect. Listen to you.
It's
How
a-
are you when you lived
It's
in Laurel
it's a
Fork?
little chilly with no doors.
When you lived in Laurel Fork.
I've gotten soft, I know.
When you lived in Laurel Fork, it'd be 35 degrees out. You'd have every window open. I can't sleep if it's above 40. I mean, it's like you were just
I was
an
a mountain
Eskimo.
man.
You were a mountain man.
I was a mountain man.
I mean, you just...
And now,
now?
I'm
Now
a
you're a beach
flatlander.
guy.
I'm a
You're
flatlander.
flat footer.
I'm down here in the Piedmont,
Yep.
1,000 feet below, and my blood has thinned.
That's what my dad, grew up in Middlebury and was on the ski patrol at Killington. You know, big mountain area, huge stuff. So he went to college, going to Burlington. And
Oh, yeah.
In the day, that's what they call them, flatlanders.
Yeah,
Flat
yeah.
footers.
Right.
It's like when you come back up the mountain to do his thing. It's like, oh, you've been down there with a flat footer. It's a flat
Yeah,
footer.
yeah, like there's some kind of
One of the harshest
like a whole
environments
different
on the
race.
planet, but it didn't have a mountain, so,
Right. Well, I got to tell you, Laurel Fork's pretty harsh in the winters. There's no doubt about that. But anyway, so yeah, so I had the heat on.
Still worked, I bet.
Yeah, you know, with no doors
Well, how far did you drive? You just drive up to Bella
from
Vista?
Mom's.
Yeah.
You know, so about 15, 20 minutes. Teeth was chattering. Yeah.
So that's why they invented whiskey.
Whiskey, yes. I went straight to the bottle when I got home.
Not
to warm
bad.
it up.
That'll warm your bones. It goes right down.
Works every time.
Yeah.
Well, we have been very happy with our Thursday night tastings here in person, and we do this virtual tasting for those of you that cannot make it to our Thursday night in person. That happens every Thursday night at 6 p.m., almost every Thursday, because now I've just found out that in a couple Thursdays,
The 24th.
yeah, we're going to
June
have,
24th.
we have a party so big that that they have to use the whole restaurant.
Yeah, we're going to have to close that night.
So we'll have to make some other arrangements.
But
Maybe do a Wednesday tasting.
The good news is that we're not going to, we're not able to do it that way, but there'll be an alternate night. We're going to work this thing out.
And of course, for people in video land, they don't care.
Man, who cares? Yeah, you can do this on Saturday, Tuesday, Monday, doesn't matter.
That's right. And
It's always here.
I hope you're watching this every day.
The infinite power of the internet.
Yeah. Yes. It's at your leisure. You can watch and enjoy these.
And please go back and enjoy our library collection.
Oh, the library
there's
collection,
some classics out there from our early days.
Someday I think
Classics.
we'll be like one of these video companies where they charge you $3.99 a month to their portfolio.
Rightfully so.
They'll be
Rightfully
just
so.
these
Would be a
ridiculous
steal.
these
It's a
ridiculous videos of us talking about the weather. Well,
And the doors on your car.
and the doors.
And how you used to like it cold.
That's true. So we've got a lot of requests for white burgundy here lately, so I thought I would dive in. And we're going to kind of start here at a very price approachable one. It's only $22.
It doesn't taste like it.
But
It's stupid good.
Yeah, well, the thing about Burgundy is, they make amazing wines. The hard part is finding wines that can fit in everybody's budget for a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday night drinker. I
That's
mean,
a
a
good
lot of
point.
times Burgundies are, well, let's just say they're not cheap, and there's a reason for it.
They've
You know,
earned it.
These are hand-picked grapes. They're hand, everything's done by hand. They're biodynamic. They have a lot of expenses, and of course they are French too. And there's always going to be expense when you talk about French wines for sure. And let's see if I can get the glare off of here.
And I don't know if you
Probably
folks at
not.
home have ever been to a vineyard, but the hand-picking grapes.
It's mind-boggling. Really,
I mean,
when
you
look
just
at
can't
it,
wrap
the
your hand
size
around.
of
Like
it.
the smallest vineyard you've ever been to in your life, hand-picking the grapes would be the most overwhelming task you could imagine. And, these are You don't have a big window to pick your grapes, especially in France, where the winemakers are very, very particular. I mean, a couple of days can make a huge difference in the quality or what the winemaker's looking for, what they may or may not consider the grape in their prime, and so you don't have multiple days or weeks to get these picked. I mean, when he says, "Hey, this is it," you got to get out there. I mean, it's staggering to think about hand picking a vineyard and the amount of labor that's involved in that, and the care involved in that, because even the modern mechanisms for pulling grapes off the vines are so advanced.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can really mess them up as more with hand picking these days. So it's a lost art, and certainly something to be admired, to have that devotion to their vineyard.
Right, and Roche de Bellene is our producer here. This is actually an import from Lucin. Lucin is I was very fortunate to meet him, spend some time with him. He's one
Dr.
of the
L?
Yeah, he's one
this
of
is Dr. L.
Ernst Lucin import. He doesn't own the winery, but he does help import Burgundies.
He does a lot of German stuff.
Yeah, he is German. Yeah,
and Austrian wines.
yeah, he is a German. He has a lot of property in Germany and some of the best Rieslings. But he also imports a negociant, if you will, for Burgundy. And here we have one of his beautiful selections. This is part from Chardonnays and part from Beaune, which are probably the two most exclusive areas of Burgundy when it comes to the beautiful grape of Chardonnay, and for Pinot Noir, if you want to go ahead and lump that in. They are both brilliant grapes from this region, and really they are the standard by which all other Chardonnays and Pinot Noirs are measured, and I think that's pretty well known. Not to say that they're the best, but they are certainly the standard. And, well, Chef, when you taste this wine, you can see why it would be the standard. Beautiful nose on it right off the bat.
The complexity is staggering, and you just don't get that in a run-of-the-mill wine.
Beautiful weight.
I mean, it's got
acidity's on point.
On point, and
Mouth
the
water.
fruit, the mouth water, and the fruit is very complex. A myriad of fruit on there, but it's all sitting on top of a rock solid wheat foundation.
Oh, yeah.
That to me, you can tell. You take the first sip, you're like, French wine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it doesn't occur anywhere else. I don't care what. I mean, I'm sure there's a mild exception here or there, but I mean, for the most part, you take your sip of French Burgundy and it's over. I mean, you go French Burgundy. I mean, it's just
it's beautiful.
It's
isn't
beautiful.
It? And when you
$22, $200 doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
can tell what you have in your glass.
Agreed, and I think it's interesting you use rock because there's so much minerality in here. It's almost like you almost expect this to be like to find a rock in here because there is so much minerality on this.
Like they poured it over an aquarium.
Wow, it has so much flavor. It almost attacks the underside of your tongue too. And I know you don't have taste buds under there, but I swear it feels like my whole tongue is lit up.
Today we do.
Wow, and the acidity is so perfect. Another beautiful, beautiful wine from France. Yes, yes, and so in
Another in a long line.
Not only is this delicious, just right out of the glass, but this structure and acidity is going to go so well with food. It's unimaginable how you could expect more from a wine than this is given right now.
I would not ask anymore.
So, Chef, what do you dare lay beside this? You got something. I can see it.
I'm up to the task.
I see that sparkle in your eyes.
As a matter of fact, I'm up to the task. We've got a great story to go along with our pairing as well. This is something we served at the chef's table last week, and it's a beautiful cheese from Saskatchewan Cove Creamery in Tennessee. This is their Shake Rag Blue, and this is just a simply stunning cheese just to look at. It's a large format blue, very creamy blue. I mean, you can cut it and it crumbles on the exterior, but it's very creamy in the middle. So it's a beautiful slice, but wrapped in local fig leaves that have been soaked in Chattanooga whiskey.
Beautiful.
And so, I mean, it's just seeping with history as well. This area that is kind of named after as a big in the near Saskatchewan Cove. Was a big moonshining thing, and the shake rag is what they call the cheese. It's there were a lot of trees around this area, right off the highway, where you put a white rag and some money, and the next day you came back and there was a bottle waiting for you.
I love it.
And so they soak the local fig leaves in this whiskey and wrap it and age it. So it's a great story. So you did that cheese, which is stunning. Remember we did it? We did it with the duck pate terrine thing.
Yeah. So fig leaves aren't just for covering your genitalia.
Well, if in a museum, yes. At a creamery, no. Although, who doesn't love?
Who knows what they're wearing while they're making their cheese, though?
Who doesn't love a dual-purpose leaf? But recycle, and. But I think, and the exterior with where the fig is very fruity. Obviously it has a great fruity exterior with the fig and with the brightness of it. But in the inside, it gets really intense. It's almost like a bacony richness, which I think it matches complexity with this wine.
Everything.
You want a complex food to go with a complex wine, and I think it hits. All the things, and so we're just really fortunate to have a cheese of that quality and a wine of this quality. And it will go great together.
Yeah, that's always one of the things when we're talking about in our multi-course dinners on the weekend with the chef. When you're putting the final touches on your dish before you bring it up, I'm there explaining to them. Usually I'm explaining first how I have to have an incredibly complex wine to go with this coming dish. And I don't want to say that every course because every dish seems to be so complex, but that is so important. A little clue for you guys out there: if you're serving a complex dish, you need a complex wine. It is not always about color. It's not always about flavor. Sometimes you got to have something that can be as mind-boggling as the dish you're serving it with, and it's weird how those attributes pair up.
They complement each other. They each rise.
Yeah.
When you do that, it seems like they really sing. It's more often than not when you have two complex things that happen. That's when you get the converts. Meaning, like you get people, I don't know if I like what you're featuring on this dish, or no, I've never really liked this kind of wine. But then, when those two meet, everybody gets that aha moment, and it's really special to see.
Absolutely, and that's what we're always trying to do. And, we're also trying to give you excellent wine at a price that you can afford to not think about the price.
The value bus, for sure.
It's, you can go and spend $22 at the grocery store, and I guarantee you won't get a wine of this caliber.
You have a lot of dogs out there for $22.
Yep. And so, keep us in mind for all your wine purchases, even if it's something we're not talking about here today. It could be something that we could get for you, which a lot of people
can find it. If it exists, he can find it.
I do my darndest to track stuff down. So, it looks like we're going to be French times 2 today, Chef.
Oh, no.
I know, it's terrible, right?
I can't stand it.
But this one's only a mere $17. A beautiful red from southwest France. And it is not from Bordeaux. You might think, southwest France, we're getting into Bordeaux. But this is actually from a little place called Cahors. And this is the last kind of stone wall of Malbec in the country of France, where the grape Malbec originates from France, but it is actually considered a Bordeaux varietal. But you never see it there.
It has moved on.
And everybody that you know has certainly had an Argentinian Mendoza Malbec, and that's what most people think, that grape comes from. And that is certainly a tip of the cap that we believe it comes from there, because it says they've really made it their own, and they've made it well.
That's true.
But I would like to get back to our roots and find out, we found out how great Burgundy Chardonnay is, and that's the homeland, of course. So let's talk about Malbec. And I know this grape is very popular with some of our regulars, and often they're asking me, why don't you do more Malbecs? Well, there's a couple reasons. I don't want to keep doing Argentinian Malbecs, and it seems like the market is dominated by that. And there's not a lot of Malbecs that are outside of that region. There are some, don't get me wrong, but the majority do fall from that region, and they can kind of, I don't want to be redundant in the things we taste. So here we are, really, going back in time in a sense to really see what Malbec is and where it came from at the same time.
Classic old school label.
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, even that label looks
straight
like
out of the 1800s.
Yeah, it sure does, Chef. And there is one little secret here that I would like to share with you. There is about 20% Merlot added to this, and that is not very far off base for if you think about Southwest France. Like I said, it's just outside of Bordeaux. And what do? They blend everything there for the most part. And so why would we be surprised that there would be blending going on in France? Of course, Chris and I are big Chardonnay. The whole Côte d'Aron area is blends, and we love it. So this Merlot is simply to kind of fine it out, to lift it up, to build it back. And boy, it does a great job. Consistent producer year to year. Probably the most familiar to most people. And wow, we got I'm going to say a ton of alcohol, not just a little alcohol. This has, it says 14.5 on the label, which is shocking that a French wine would put that on there because they are taxed a lot more if they put 14 or more. Well, oftentimes you'll see 13.9, so avoid those taxes. This
rich.
is a beast.
It's rich. Boy, is it rich.
Well, there you go. The difference between this and an Argentinian Malbec, right away, again, there's earth. It is rich, Chef, but it's not like it's not as fruity juicy. It's fruit, but it's like it's a more
it's on the back,
on the darker, earthier side.
Dark earth. Tobacco, leather, spice. It's delicious. We did this a couple years ago.
Yeah,
and it was not this big.
Yeah, it
was a much milder version of a couple of vintages ago. I won't say more watery, but it was just toned down. And this
is also
this is it.
France is probably more susceptible to vintages than anywhere else in the world. They really do see variances, and Argentina doesn't see any.
Yeah, they don't have the rain, the weather. Yeah, I mean, it's just like San Diego down there.
Yeah, it's very consistent. So that is part of the fun here. We are getting to experience the 2018 vintage here. These do see quite. So this has just recently been released. So it does see.
It was 15 or 16 that we had last time.
I believe it was 16. Yeah. And 16 wasn't considered a great year.
It was good. I mean, it wasn't tasty. It was just so different than this. Shocking.
Agreed, Chef. There wasn't anything wrong with it. We enjoyed it a lot.
Absolutely.
It's just a different expression.
And to me, this is like the best thing. I know a lot of people don't. Most people seek consistency, to where we have the luxury of. I mean, I love seeing the vintage sways.
Yeah,
I mean, I love it.
It makes it fun.
I mean,
it makes it fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I remember this is how it stayed. This is how it changed. I love how this happens.
Chef, I'm getting some weird stuff here.
What are you getting?
You're not going to believe it.
Hit me.
I'm having a hard time putting it into words. I'm going to say it though.
All right, yeah. I mean, there's no wrong answer.
Grilled watermelon. with lots of pepper. Like if you
who would grill watermelon without
you gotta see it.
Grilled watermelon needs some pepper.
Fresh cracked pepper on a grilled watermelon. What do you think? Because it's got that toastiness, but there's a fruit here that's it's to me it's not the typical plum cherry kind of thing. It has a different flavor profile.
All right. So that's forever what this is.
I'm sorry. I've ruined this one.
How do you come back from that?
I don't know, but that was on my mind.
Well, the problem is I'm tasting it now. Because I'm trying to think about grilled watermelon. I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, it does.
Back in my when I was an everyday chef, I was always doing weird stuff because I just wanted to see what would happen. And grilling watermelon, I got on a kick.
You got to you have a little
like
kick.
you just when you discover something that tastes good, that you can't stop.
Well, especially
doing
if it's unusual.
Yeah.
If you find something unusual and it still tastes good, you're like, I'm going to own this.
Right. I remember that I had a kick for a while when I was in South Carolina because I had a lot more access to fruit down there because you had Georgia and Florida. And I would get so I had this
watermelon.
Yeah, right. I had this thing where I had to have not just red watermelons. I had to have the yellow ones and the orange ones, and I had to have equal amounts in all of my little things. So I couldn't just have the simpleton red watermelon. I had to have the yellow one. Yeah, but there was So I guess there was a time too where I needed to have some grilled watermelon around. And this wine reminds me of that. I'm like having flashbacks.
I totally get it. But I would take it a step further. I feel like it was grilled with olive oil. Mm-hmm. Because this
has savoriness to it.
This has a savoriness to it. And so, like fruit with olive oil is beautiful. So I'm getting that watermelon. I'm getting that char. Mm-hmm. But I feel like, it's not like a grilled with butter or citrus. It's like grilled with oil. So it's got some fat in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
But I get it. That's wild.
So there's your crazy description for today. I hope I haven't brainwashed anybody and thinking that's what they taste. But this guy knows what I'm talking about.
I totally get it now. I mean, I never would have gone there, but now that it's there, I mean.
Yeah. So since we're using food descriptors, I guess we need to talk about food to pair this with.
Well, kind of what we're doing here lately. I'm bringing two things to the table, and I'm gonna let you decide because when you showed me the Cahors, I'm like, oh, I remember that.
So smooth.
And so I've been brining these organic chicken wings, and I've got them brining in garlic and herbs and vinegar. And I was going to roast them in the morning and then toss them in fresh herbs because I remember the lightness of this wine. Right. And I thought, wow, that'd be perfect. Well, now we're drinking and it's like, whoa, she's turned into a thoroughbred. Mm-hmm. So I got in that Brasstown flat iron today. So I'm thinking that's probably the way to go with this because it's not as soft as I remember it being, which I thought the herby chicken, especially the dill, I remembered would be great with this.
Right.
But this new vintage is showing us a totally different side of what it's capable of. So Brasstown flat iron.
And if you're throwing dill on that, maybe we can do that again in a week or so, and I could maybe do like a really oat Rioja that has that American dill.
That's that American dill. Well, sometimes the Merlot blend in this.
It gives you that flavor.
But let's put that on the back burner and let's get that.
Yeah, beef it is. Yes,
you've got to see this Brasstown flat iron. We're going to use it for the chef's table this weekend. It's gorgeous. The marbling is just simply stunning. I cannot believe that grass-fed North Carolina beef looks like this. I swear to gosh, it looks like American Wagyu.
And that's another great thing about Chef. He orders from small distribution, and when these cyber attacks hit these huge food conglomerates, and we just had this happen where
JBS,
that literally Australia and America's beef production is taking a huge hit, but Chef Chris's allocations have not.
We're good.
And that's a beautiful thing. So
and of course it does affect the pricing because now everybody's going to be calling up local people and going, I need you to supplement. Beef was already on the rise.
Every summer.
Beef has been on the rise, and we've been seeing it, and you see it too. I mean, it's not just us. You see it at the store. You go in and I made tacos last night, and I went to the store to get some beef for tacos, and I was like, everybody gets 2 tacos instead of 3 tonight. I mean, because it's
more beans and more rice.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the way up. But another trend though, I will say, which makes me happy, is the grass-fed is always a better value. I mean, they had a whole tenderloin grass-fed. It's like $52.
That's amazing.
It looks great. I mean, it's unheard of. I mean, you're looking at $120, $140 for a whole tenderloin. I mean, just without even thinking about it. That's in good times. But anyway, I mean, and grass-fed is the way of the future. It is sustainable. I mean, not that, grain-fed and all these things are going away. That's not
They won't.
my point. It shouldn't. However, I mean, grass-fed's going to have its place, and it's going to have a prominent seat at the table forever, as it should be. So people have a choice, and that's that's what capitalism's all about. Is having a choice, and you have people, putting out what people want, and so I've become more grass-fed oriented in terms of how I shop, both here at the winery and at home. But I mean, it doesn't mean at the expense of grain-fed and all these things. But it's winning me over.
Yeah. Well, it's
One of the best strips you said you ever had. We did at the river that time. It was grass-fed.
unbelievable. Yeah, and
The marbling is coming along. I mean, they're figuring it out. There's processes you can do, and people are figuring out that it's not just feed. That it's aging. There's so many things that factor into marbling.
Yeah.
And the grass-fed folks are figuring it out. And it's taken a while. And there was a lot of terrible meat out there. I mean, terrible. Because people just didn't know. Maybe it's a big, huge learning curve when you're trying to figure all these things out. So I'm sure a lot of the pioneers have a lot of arrows in them. But the people now are enjoying a good view from their shoulders, and have figured out, corrected the mistakes and learned from them. And then now we're really starting to see, you put them side by side, and you're like, are you kidding me? I mean, this grass-fed looks like prime beef.
Yeah.
And that just thrills me. I mean, just as a personally,
Yeah.
that thrills me to see that devotion pay off.
And the animal had a full, healthy life.
Yes, it did.
not
A natural.
Not spending 90 days in a pen.
I mean, and that's the way, that's what we all would ask.
Sure.
That you have a good life before you die.
And
We're all going to die. None of us can beat it. But it's how we live before we die. And I think that's the way God intended it. They're supposed to, live in meadows and eat grass and roam free. And killing it for food does not mean that animal would have otherwise lived forever. We don't want to live in that fantasy world, but I think we're getting back to a place where there's more harmony if you allow an animal to have a life before its life is over. Just the same thing we would want.
Well, the easiest way to see the results of a happy animal is farm fresh eggs.
True.
I mean,
Yep.
you
That's a
compare
great
a
point.
store-bought egg, and even the cage-free ones that they have, you crack one open and compare it to a local farmer that is letting these insects, these chickens dine on insects and more natural things, and you compare these yolks, it's like a different product altogether, and it's still chicken eggs. And that is the difference between a happy chicken and an unhappy chicken, in my opinion.
I used to save all of our veggie scraps, strawberry tops, vegetable scraps, all these things, and give them to chicken farmers, and the chickens would destroy this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get
They're
eggs, and
starving
then they
for
bring
that.
you
Yeah,
eggs back, and you're like, is this even an egg? I mean, it makes such a huge difference. And even the stuff that says cage-free stuff at the store. I mean, I've actually talked.
They're probably feeding them garbage.
Well, and not only that,
not the good garbage,
Not the good garbage.
Yeah.
I've even talked to these people. They're like, well, all that means is we just have a door.
Right.
I mean, so if you provide a door in
Right.
these houses,
Yeah.
then you are legally allowed to say cage-free, because they could go out if they wanted to.
Yeah. I get it.
So there's a lot
That's
of
what
marketing involved, and of course there's a lot of lobbying. I mean, the things you can pay off these stooges that run our country to get what you want. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world. I mean, because they could care less. I mean, where's your money? And then all of a sudden you get to say cage-free because some lobbyist, bought off a politician. And now you have this whole industry tainted by this phrase because someone just bought you off. And you have, a 200-foot chicken house and a 6-foot walking area, and you open the door and you can call it literally anything. You could call that all
Free
these
range.
all these wonderful things that everybody
Free range,
feels
yeah.
good about, and you take home and it's like cracking open a piece of cardboard. And so not only do you get no benefit, from this flavorless, beneficially zombie. I mean, it has no benefit to you health wise. But no one wins. I mean, the chickens don't win. The consumer doesn't win. You're only getting fat in between the people that we don't see. So,
Well, it was
spend the
great.
extra money. Go to the market. Call us. Call Jay Roberts.
Great to see Jay today. He brought by a bunch
Call
of
Kyle
fresh eggs.
Montgomery at York Farm. Go see all these Sour Creek Farm. Go Kate at Hedge Farms. Find them at the market. Try to reach out to them through their websites or social media. Call us and buy eggs. I mean, it's worth it. Quit buying that junk at the store. It's not worth it. I mean, I buy almost 6 dozen eggs a week from our farmers personally to take home because I've got 100 kids and we just plow through eggs. But I mean, if I'm ever out or in between, I bring a dozen home from the store. We're just like, what's this trash?
What a disappointment.
And Morgan's mom's eggs are just over the top.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
You got to brush those off.
Yeah, right. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
They're the coloring and it's just over the top. You'll never go back. Never go back.
So
It's
yeah,
good for
we've got access to eggs if y'all need them,
Yeah,
and
let
if
us
you
know.
want some real eggs, that is.
And we can get you a bunch of them too. I mean, we got Jay is always overproducing, and who's our main egg provider. But we have lots of farmers producing
And those
eggs
chickens
too,
are happy.
That man loves on his chickens.
He does.
He
And
loves
it
on his
shows.
chickens.
And we love his chickens too. So hey, if y'all need things like eggs, cheese, any kind of fancy thing like
Fish,
duck
beef,
pastrami,
Fish,
you'd be-
beef, and cheese, and
every
duck.
week we have people
You name it.
coming in
Oysters.
and getting things. You ask, we shall get. And
We'll
hope
clean
you.
this stuff up for you too. We'll clean
That's
the
right.
fish.
Clean and
We're
portion.
all our shrimp season here any minute now.
I'm looking forward to it.
So we're getting back to
Looking forward
that
to
North Carolina shrimp train for the next 4 or 5 months. Best time of year.
Yeah, fresh, never frozen.
Yep.
Amazing. Well, hey, everybody, we appreciate your time. As always, if you want any of these wines, you just give us a call up here. If you want to do this in person, we do it Thursday night at 6 p.m. And when the time is right, we hope to have you here. Also, we do carry-out food. We do outdoor dining. And so there's a myriad of ways you can dine with us or to take food with you to go and enjoy it at home. We appreciate all your support. Chef, until next week.
Thank you so much.
See ya.
Appreciate all of you.